What is up, guys? I just want to go ahead and have like a little quick breakdown video of what we currently seen here on the market today on 7/15/2026, because this was a direct kind of thing that I talked about in a prior video where there was a distinct correlation between, or a distinct discrepancy between the QQQs and the SPY, and I want to go ahead and talk about that. I want to go ahead and explain. Sorry for the burp. I want to go ahead and explain for anyone who might have been on the wrong side of trades, for anyone who might have not performed to their best capabilities, because today I feel like was a big opportunistic day. This was one of the bigger days, if not the biggest day of the month, at least for me personally. But this is the type of day that when you get people like Lance and people like Nate and really like, you know, high level traders, like elite level traders, when they talk about on A+ days you need to size up, this was one of those days. But I can see where people could have failed, and because I see where people could have failed, I wanted to go ahead and talk about how I personally traded the day, how I stayed away from certain names, and how I attacked relative weakness versus relative strength. So for quick context, really quick, if you guys do not know, I'm a much better short seller than I am a long bias trader. Now I do take a lot of longs, but I'm not as good as holding on to those positions versus me short selling. I much rather have price action wise, I much rather catch like really nice flushes rather than like, you know, long plays. That's just I'm still in the, I wouldn't say the beginning of my trading career, but it's just the way that I've learned coming from small caps and things like that. So there's just, you know, a lot more to shorting, which kind of just, it's easier for me personally. I do take a lot of longs. I longed Meta this week and I longed Microsoft this week. But today was essentially like almost everything was a short. So I'm going to go ahead, kind of share my trades and the discrepancies here. So I don't want to miss anything. So let's go ahead and first of all, let's pull up the SPY, right? And let's talk about it really quick here. So we had PPI and CPI report, right? They both came out. I'm sorry, you're gonna hear some IU chirps in the background. So we had CPI and PPI. Both of them came out relatively good. We have Fed Chair Warsh essentially saying, well, I don't care, right? I'm not going to base any of my readings off of just one print. So you kind of have a market that's getting good prints on PPI, CPI, but how much of that good print was due to the fact that we had the MOU with Iran, and now that kind of got canceled. Now the war's back on. The Strait of Hormuz is closed again. So that is, I think that's why we're getting that kind of thought process behind like Warsh, where he's not allowing just like one good CPI and PPI print be the end all be all to cancel rate hikes. It seems like in the back of the mind, rate hikes are more than likely, seems like it's an inevitability. So, but look, that's neither here nor there, right? I'm not a Fed chairman, right? I didn't go to college like that. So I don't know what the fuck that guy's gonna do. All I can do is just kind of think about rationally how he would go about it. But anyways, let's talk about the SPY. So the SPY clearly has some relative strength here, holding on to previous day highs, as you guys can tell. Right, the purple line, by the way, is previous day highs. We did go under this white line, which is previous day's close. So we ended up going red and then V-shaped right back up into previous day highs. But we're into a supply level, which is this red bar. Now, look at the difference between QQQs. Look how heavy the Qs look versus the SPYs, right? The Q flushed out, popped previous day highs, failed previous day highs, couldn't get back green on the day, failed previous day lows, which is this yellow line, and essentially stood heavy. We lost the daily 20. We lost the daily, I think the daily 10, the daily 50. Like, we lost several moving averages here on the Qs. And why is it that the Qs were so much weaker than the SPY? Well, it's quite simple. The answer to that is, where was money outflowing? Where was money flowing out of, and where was money flowing into? So we have things like JPM. Notice how this thing looks good, right? All-time high. We have Goldman Sachs, all-time high. We have BAC, all-time high. We have Wells Fargo, not all-time highs, but now it's above its 200 daily moving average, right? So what does that mean? That means there's a clear sector in the SPY, right? Because the Qs is growth related, so almost all of it is tech, right? And I say almost all because I think there's a few little nuances. I think like Hood might be in NASDAQ, and we have a couple of other things that might be in the NASDAQ that's not really like super tech oriented. It's a growth, but like, yeah. Anyways, the banks are doing well, right? But not only that, Apple, right? All-time highs, right? Look at Google. Really good day on Google here today. Very good day. Look at Meta. Meta kind of, I thought Meta was going to be an HVC setup. Oh, and it closed like it. Okay. So Meta actually closed as an HVC, which is an Ariel Hernandez. I learned it from Ariel. I don't know who he learned it from, so I'll call it an Ariel Hernandez thing. So this actually closed as a high volume close. It closed higher than this previous gap up. So that's really good. But look at the strength behind Meta. Microsoft. Right? Good strength out from Microsoft. What else was there? There was Apple, Microsoft. It was like all MAGS, honestly. Like all the MAGS 7. Like what did Tesla do today? Tesla was red. Okay. Dude, Tesla got a couple of nice little these wicks right here. Looks like it might be creating some sort of base or something. But I say that to say this, right? We seen where the money was flowing into. Now, where was money flowing out of? ARM. ARM got real heavy. Look at this. ARM was heavy. MRVL. Heavy. INTC. Heavy. Right? I want you guys to start noticing the correlation of what sector was getting actually just ragged on all day. Nvidia showed real relative strength versus everything. But Nvidia was another one. SNDK is heavy. MU, heavy. Right? WDC, heavy. Right? You guys see what I'm talking about now. AMAT, heavy. Right? We have Dell. I know Dell's not really in the semi names, but Dell, heavy. Like, so this is why, oh my God, that my thing just went super red. But this is why, right? This is why the Qs were relatively weak. You had a lot of money flowing out of the semiconductors, memory, photonics. Yeah, you had issues all across the board on memory. There was just problems. So what did I trade? Here's what I traded today. I traded AMAT. AMAT was my semiconductor of choice. I also traded AMD. AMAT, I got short around here, scaled out here, got some pops here, scaled out here. That was the end of my trading day. I did not trade anything further. I wish I had stayed for these extra, several, 20 points. I wish I would have stayed for that. I traded that. I traded AMD, right? I had AMD off of this trend line, right? So as soon as it failed VWAP, I got short here. I wrote it here, got out, failed previous day lows, got in, got out right here. And then I left it alone. I didn't know how far this thing was willing to go, but it went a lot further than what I thought. So traded that on the short side. I want to show you what I did with Meta, guys, because I did trade Meta short and it was not a long. I traded a trend line break on Meta for a short side trade. I had the supply line right here. This was showing relative strength all day, so I was waiting for that possible break for it to kind of just fail to follow through for a bit. So I ended up actually preemptively shorting. I actually shorted this pop on this candle right here, flushed out, washed. I covered right here on this candle or this candle or this candle. One of these three candles is where I covered my full position. And that was just a nice little, what is this? This was like about like 5 points or something like that. 4 points? 3 points? Is this 3 points? No, this is a little bit more. Like 4 points. About 4 or 5 points, something like that. So that's the only mag that I ended up trading on the short side. Like Meta was the only one. I did not touch Microsoft today. Didn't touch Apple. For anyone who is confused as to how did I know to attack semiconductors today, like how did I know? Well, it was very simple. On my other screen, I have a QQQ chart up, right? So picture the Qs, and then I have a SPY chart up as well, right next to the Qs on my other monitor. I was able to understand that there was a discrepancy between the two, and if there's a discrepancy, I want to know what is making the Qs weak and what is keeping the SPY stronger than the Qs. Do you honestly think with Google going up, Apple going up, Meta going up, Microsoft going up, like when you have like these huge names that before like semiconductors, like literally the Magnificent Seven, if those names are surging to the upside, do you think that's gonna have like an effect on this? Like it's gonna be able to do enough to hold the SPY up enough? Like it's gonna hold the SPY up while making the Qs a laggard, because the Qs are, the Qs are heavy into semiconductors, heavy into memory chip names. So when you have chips coming down and then you have money outflowing from the chips into like the Apples and the Metas and things like that, it will hold the S&P higher than it will the Qs, because of the way that the money, the way that they're kind of accounted for in the ETFs, right? Because SPY has several sectors and Qs just is all growth related, tech related. So when one side of tech gets a hit, it does significantly more damage, especially when it's a full sector that is getting damaged. I mean, at one point, I think SNDK was down like 15% on the day. It might have been 12 or 15%, one of them, but it was deep red. And AMD was kind of the same. So, for anyone who had the opportunity to short, if you were out here trying to short Apple, like, guys, here's one thing about trading that you have to learn. If you're someone who might have tried to attack Apple on an all-time high break, ask yourself, like, why? Like, why would you go and try to fight the tape on something that's relatively strong when the market was showing you weakness across a plethora of names? I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, AAOI, like, even if you wanted to go into photonics, like, AAOI crushed today. Absolutely crushed. AXTI, same. Crushed today. You had probably BE. Crushed. Like, I mean, V-shape recovered, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have such a wide range of things that you can short that were under previous days' close, previous days' lows. Like, things that are already showing relative weakness is what you need to be trying to short on a day where you think that the market is going to be heavy, right? So, like, that's why it's so important to have the Qs and the SPY up and try to find where the discrepancies are between the two. And even on days on how they're correlating. Like, when everything is green, Qs is significant, usually significantly more green than the SPY. So just something to be aware of for anyone who might have, thought that, oh my God, there's no way Apple could keep on going after it broke, 321s. And then it skips to 323s. And then it skips to 325s. And then 320, and now your account's blown up. Like, why are you shorting the relatively strong one? Meta was the same thing. Notice how, like, I didn't fight any of this, guys. Like, none of this. I didn't short this failure. I didn't short this. I really waited until it showed me that there was a trend line break. And that is when I went for a scalp short on Meta, right? That was the only way I was going to trade anything with relative strength. I have to be able to draw a trend line and see an actual fade of that trend. I need to visually see where the trend line is. Like, so, and trend lines are subjective. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't like about trend lines is like, just because I drew this one doesn't mean someone had one drawn from like down here to up here. Like, there's many ways to draw it. So, but yet again, I've done a video before on relative strength versus relative weakness. And this is just another case showing you guys the importance of understanding where money is flowing out of and where's money flowing into as it's essentially they were treating Apple, Meta, Google, Microsoft, they were treating all of these names as like a safe haven while semiconductors were getting taken to the woodshed today. Like, so you need to be able to find out, right? You need to be able to find out how to do this, right? You need to be able to find out, like, all right, these names are relatively strong, MAGS are strong, semiconductors are weak. If I want a long, if I'm better at longing, focus on relatively strong names. If I'm better at shorting, focus on names that are relatively weak. So names that are already red on the day, names that are already failing previous day lows. Contrary, if you're longs, Apple over previous day highs, Meta previous day highs, Amazon over previous day highs. Like, and look, I'll just show you guys. Like, it's not like the market didn't allow you to get in, right? Like, you get this nice little double bottom on previous supply on Amazon. That was pretty decent, but Apple was by far the best and simplest trade of the day. Like, this thing just absolutely rode the 21 EMA, rode VWAP, didn't really even touch VWAP, right? Like, this basically was a bull flag here. And it just continued. And then we got a nice ABCD pattern up here. So, like, there's no shortage of opportunities in this market. Whether you're someone who's long biased, whether you're somebody who's short biased, it doesn't matter. There's always somewhere to attack in this market. And, you know, one thing that I hate is, like, when I see some traders just choosing the wrong name because they think that it's up too much. That makes no sense. What's up too much can go up even further, right? Like, and what's low can go even lower. I mean, how many people thought the SNDK was gonna drop 15% today at its like trope, or it's at its lowest fucking its lowest value, right? It dropped 300 points, like. So, you know, I just wanted to come out and share this with you guys. While I didn't trade SNDK, I know several traders who did. I know several traders who traded MU, right? And was successful. I traded AMD and AMAT. Those were the two of my choice. So, you know, that's that. But notice the difference, guys. This thing was already red on the day, already failing supply, let go of previous day lows. I mean, this is 100 points. Guys, this is like 100 points. You know, not saying that you would have caught the whole move, but the opportunity, I mean, you don't even have to catch 100 points, man. If you got like a couple hundred shares and you get 30, 40, 50 points, depending on your account size, you're sitting on a no-brainer, great call on the day. So, you know, that's just my thoughts on this. I hope you guys ended up, you know, trading everything well today. To me, the price action was very clean today. Honestly, there wasn't much of a headache. Everything just felt, I hate to say easy, but it definitely felt like I was at the free throw line after being fouled and I had 2 free throws. Like that's what it honestly felt like today. It felt like I got fouled. They put me at the free throw line, and I'm just Michael Jordan or Steph Curry or Kobe Bryant or whoever you want to name that's excellent at free throws, Ray Allen, right? And that's what it felt like. It just felt like layups today. Like, so, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys can kind of decipher what I kind of put down today and really zone in on understanding the concept of things that are relatively weak versus relatively strong. And today was definitely one of those A++++ days. Honestly, it really was. So I'm out of here, man. Hope you guys enjoyed.